Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhiyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नित्यनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. So yesterday we completed the 25th chapter of the third canto. So far we have discussed how Kardam Muni, after he got married to Devahuti, and Swayambhuva Manu and Shatrupa, they had come and they very happily they gave their daughter to Kardamuni in marriage. And then Kardamuni, after all these Swayambhuva Manu, Shatrupa and all the entourage, they left. Kardamuni became engaged in his austerities. And Devahuti, she served Kardamuni very nicely with lots of love, awe and reverence without any personal sense gratification. She served with all faith, all attention, all care. And that's how she pleased Kardamuni. And then, of course, after many years, she expressed her desire that please give me a child. Kardamuni, realizing the desire of Devahuti, first of all, he gave her very beautiful body, and then he created an aerial mansion. And in that aerial mansion, Kardamuni and Devahuti, they went around all over the Bhumandala, visited so many places, many gardens in the whole Bhumandala and the valleys of Sumeru mountain. They came back, and Kardamuni begot 9 daughters in the womb of Devahuti. And then after that, he was leaving. Devahuti told that, thank you for fulfilling my desires, but you have not fulfilled one thing. You have not given me fearlessness. Please give me a son that will help me come out of this ignorance. So Kardamuni stayed for some more time. He told Devahuti that you practice bhakti unto the Supreme Lord, worship the Supreme Lord. Devahuti followed, and then Supreme Lord, as Kapiladev, entered the womb of Devahuti. Then all the Devatas came, Brahmaji came. Brahmaji gave all the benedictions to Kardamuni and Devahuti also. And then after that, Brahmaji and all the Devatas, they left. Kardamuni, he married all his 9 daughters to very pious and very, very powerful sages of the whole creation. And then after some time, Kapiladev was born. So Kardamuni offers prayers to Kapiladev that you are the Supreme Lord, from you everything is coming. Please give me permission so that I can renounce this world. So Kardamuni, as a response to the prayers of Kardamuni, Kapiladev, he says that all your desires will be fulfilled. Please, you can go to the forest, meditate on the Lord who is there in the heart. You will see me, and at the end, you will become liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Then after that, we discuss that Shaunak Rishi asks about the further activities of Kapila. After Kardamuni left, what did Kapila Dev do? Because he was a very liberated soul. He is a supreme lord himself. He is all knowledgeable. What did he do? Devahuti, she approached Kapila Dev, Kapila Muni, and she asked, please dispel my this misconception of me and mine, aham and mameti. So she asked this. She said, I am taking your shelter. You are the supreme lord. Please dispel my ignorance. And then in response to that, Kapila Dev, he told that I will tell you this Adhyatmic Yoga. This Adhyatmic Yoga will make you understand this whole knowledge of this material creation. In short, Kapila Dev wanted to tell about Bhakti, Ashtanga Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. And then he said, in all these things, mind is a very, very important element. If mind is controlled, one can become detached from this material world. Mind is like a pure. And then Kardamuni, Kapiladev, he explains the quality of bhakti. So I'll just go back. Yeah. So he glorifies the devotional service. He says that devotional service is the purest path. Na yujyamanaya bhaktya bhagavati akhilatmani sidrisho asti shivah pantha yoginam brahma siddhaye. So this bhakti is the only auspicious path, and then he glorifies the activities of the devotees, their primary characteristics of being devoted to Krishna, secondary characteristics which they manifest as a compassion for people in general, tolerance and all that. And then he says, if you want to develop that love of God, associate with devotees, chant the names of the Lord, hear the glories of the Supreme Lord in association of devotees. In that way, you will become free from this bondage of birth and death. You will develop Shraddha, Rati and Bhakti. After that, Devahuti, she asked few more questions. So she said that you told about this Bhakti. What type of Bhakti should I perform? And then she asked, please explain the Jnana and please explain the Ashtanga Yoga. So Chakravarti Thakur says that actually Devahuti, she had no confusion in the mind. Kya karna hai abhi, bhakti karun, gyan karun, Ashtanga Yoga, what should I do? She knew that bhakti is the only way, but she wanted to hear out of curiosity about this path of Ashtanga Yoga also. And then Supreme Lord, he described that bhakti which is free from the material desires, and that is free from any of the contamination of the modes, that is the bhakti which we should perform unto the Supreme Lord. And by that bhakti, one becomes free from the cycle of birth and death. So now we discussed till this point yesterday. So today we'll be starting this 26th chapter, which is entitled The Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. So now Kapila Dev, he says that, so this chapter is the answer to the third question of Devahuti. So Devahuti had asked about the interaction between the Jiva, Prakriti and Purusha, and characteristics of Pradhana, time and other elements. So Kapila Dev, he says that now I will describe the Sankhya. Sankhya, what is Sankhya? We'll see in short. So this Sankhya is basically the analysis of this material world in terms of the various elements of which this material universe is made of. What is the purpose of this Sankhya? Kapila Dev says, whoever studies this Sankhya, understands this Sankhya, first of all, he'll be freed from the influence of the material modes. The modes of material nature will not affect him. Secondly, he'll attain the perfection of self-realization, and he will cut off all the knots of attachment to this material world. So somebody may say, but how is this possible? How will it happen? By knowing that this world is made up of various elements, how our attachment to the world will be cut off. So for example, all of us must have eaten rasgullas or gulab jamun, and most of us may like that. But gulab jamun is very tasty, delicious. But if the flour and the ghee or sugar and the water and the oil which is used to make that gulab jamun is put in front of us, will it attract us? No, actually it is not so attractive. But when the same elements are combined together in a proper way and made into gulab jamun, that is attractive. Similarly, this world which is so very attractive with so many variegatedness is there in this world, so much of variegatedness is there in this world. All this variegatedness may attract our mind. Was just like one time Prabhupada was there on a beach, on a seashore, and devotees, he was on his morning walk. So one of the devotees said, Prabhupada, this ocean is looking so nice and peaceful and beautiful. Prabhupada said, yes, material nature is like that. It looks very beautiful from far, but when you go near, that material nature will catch you. It will suck you in. So that is how the ocean is. And few of us must have experienced this ocean in Jagannath Puri. Jagannath Puri's ocean is a very fierce ocean. If somebody gets in and he does not know till what point he has to go, he'll be sucked in. And there are many devotees who have personally experienced it. They have been saved by other devotees because they thought, "Arey, it is a normal ocean. I am a great swimmer. I have done it my whole life. I have done swimming. I have crossed big oceans, big rivers. This is no big deal for me." But those devotees, when they enter, they realize the ocean is sucking them inside. So the ocean, which is looking so very beautiful from the far, but when we actually understand the nature of the ocean, then we'll be very, very careful. So similarly, this Sankhya philosophy is making us aware that this very beautiful, attractive world which we are seeing, you break down into elements. You break down into various elements and you will not get attracted. This beautiful body of opposite gender may look very beautiful, very attractive, but a person who sees the body which is full of muscles, bones, fat and pus, urine, mucus, stool, they will not get attracted to that object. So that is the purpose of Sankhya philosophy. That is the jnana. So the devotee should also know that this world which is so attractive, externally it may attract our mind and senses, but when we actually analytically see, okay, this world which is so very attractive, it is just the combination of elements. It will no longer attract us. So that is the whole basic principle of the philosophy of Sankhya. Sankhya means breaking this whole material universe, analyzing the constituents of the universe into the primary constituents. That is what will be explained by Kapila Dev in this chapter. So then Kapil Dev, he says that first he starts answering this question of Devahuti, how a jiva interacts with Prakriti and Purusha. So Kapil Dev says that actually seeing the various forms which are offered by Prakriti, jiva, the living entity, gets bewildered. He gets entangled seeing the external features of this material world. And as a result, he gets covered with avidya. So when a living entity falls from the material spiritual world, he gets into the material world. There are series of events which happen. So first thing which happens when the jiva enters the spiritual material world is he is covered with ignorance. That is what Brahmaji created first. We discussed in the second canto. Brahmaji created ignorance, various types of 5 types of ignorance. Moha, Mahamoha, Tamaha, Tamishra, Andhatamishra. All these things are ignorance. They are covering our knowledge. Jivera Swarup Hoye Krishnera Nityadas. That gets covered. And then we start thinking that I am not servant, I am a controller. Then after the ignorance covers the living entity, the soul, second thing which comes is the false ego. We discussed about the appearance of false ego and we'll discuss today again. He gets covered by the false ego. And that ahankar all the more pronounces his misidentification. He starts identifying more with the body. I am this body. When Srila Prabhupada, he went to America first time and he was preaching, when he would say, I am not this body, I am soul, the audience, they would think maybe he is not his body, I am my body only. So that is how there is so much dissociation from this actual principle that I am not this body. And then the subtle body gets covered over the mind and the intelligence. And then the desire to enjoy is there. How to enjoy? Then the cross body is given to the soul. So this is all starts with avidya, the ignorance which is covering the real knowledge. So then, being covered by this real knowledge, the bewildered soul thinks that I am the doer. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankar vimudhatma karta ham iti manyate. Prakrite kriyamanani. Although all the things are done by material nature, gunai karmani sarvashah, which is full of material modes. In this world, the modes are the prominent active principles. They are making all the things run. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani. But people who are ahankar vimudhatma, they are bewildered and foolish, they think karta aham, I am the doer. So that is what the bewildered jiva thinks. And this misconception leads the jiva to take birth in all the species of life. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jathare shayanam, iha samsare, bahudustare, kripaya tare, pahi murari. Shankaracharya says that living entity in this world keeps struggling. But only by taking shelter of Krishna, one can actually come out of this ocean of birth and death. So that is what Kapila Deva is describing to Devahuti, his mother. That is how a jiva interacts with Prakriti. And then he says, actually, what is the cause of the result of jiva's action? Why a living entity is behaving like this? Because living entity thinks, I am Purusha. The person may be in a female body, but the mentality is Purusha. So when Jiva is called as Purusha, it is not just for male bodies, either male or female. The tendency to enjoy in this world is a Purusha mentality. Purusha means I am the enjoyer, I am the controller, I am the Lord. So we misused our free will and we tried to lord it over the material world. That's why it said, Krishna bhairmukh hoiya jiva bhogvancha kare nikatastha maya tare japatiya dhare. When living entity wants to enjoy this world, the material energy, she immediately captures the living entities. And then after describing this, Kapila Deva describes about the characteristics of pradhana, time, and all the other elements. Because Devahuti asks, please describe the characteristics, describe more of the characteristics, because Kapila Deva had explained more, in short. She wanted to listen more. Please explain more about the characteristics of Prakriti and Purusha. So in response to this question, Kapila Deva describes the characteristics of Pradhan. He says that the characteristics of Pradhan means we have discussed it 3-4 times, that when Karno Daksha Vishnu is sleeping, there is a dravya which comes out from the body of Mahavishnu. That dravya is impregnated. So Mahavishnu glances on that dravya and impregnates it with jiva, karma, kala, and swabhava. And that dravya gets transformed into pradhana. What are the characteristics of this pradhana? Pradhana is unmanifested, avyakta. It is eternal. It is the aggregate of the 3 modes. It is 3 gunam. And this Mahatattva is this pradhan is the cause of the prakriti. It consists of all the cause and effects. And then what are the products of this pradhana? The product of this pradhana are, as you can see in this slide, it gets transformed into Mahatattva, and all this is happening by the influence of time. So with time everything is happening. The Kala Shakti of the Lord is working. So Mahatattva gets transformed into Mahatattva in the mode of goodness, in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance. Mahatattva in the mode of goodness gets transformed into consciousness. Mahatattva in the mode of passion gets transformed into intelligence. Mahatattva in the mode of ignorance gets transformed into ahankara. So this ahankara is it is predominantly in the mode of ignorance, but in the mode of ignorance also there is a goodness, passion and ignorance. So in the mode of goodness, ahankara transforms into jnana shakti, which transforms into adhideva, which transforms into mind and the 10 sense devatas. Ahankar in the mode of passion gets transformed into kriya shakti, which further gets transformed into adhyatma, which gets transformed into the prana shakti and the 10 senses and the intelligence. And then similarly the ignorance gets transformed into the 5 tanmatras and the 5 elements. So that is what is described about this product of the 24 elements. These products of pradhana, they are 24. What are the 24? First is the 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air and ether. Then 5 tanmatras. What are the tanmatras? Sound, touch, form, taste and smell. These are the 5 tanmatras. And then these are the 10. Then 10 senses, 5 karmendriyas and 5 jnanendriyas. Karmendriyas are the organs of action, just like hands, legs, mouth, anus and genitals. And the jnanendriyas are the senses from which we acquire knowledge. That is eyes, nose, ear, tongue and touch, skin. So these are 20. And then apart from that, intelligence, false ego, chitta means consciousness and the mind. They are the 24 elements of the material nature. And time is the 25th element. So Kapila Devi explained all that philosophical, analytical knowledge. It is all very technical. Lots of technical details are given. How the pradhan gets transformed into all these elements. And then he describes how all these elements, when they were formed, then the 10 sense devatas, we discussed in the second canto, that the devatas, they went and they prayed to the Lord that please, we are all separate. Please give us your mercy so that we can combine and we can produce this universe. The Lord sends his cohesive energy, Vibhrat Shakti, and then the universal shell is formed. And then after that, Karanodaksha Vishnu expands as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, enters this universal shell and then fills half of this universal shell with his own perspiration, own water, water of perspiration. And then a lotus arises, sprouts from the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So all these things are described in this 26th chapter. So after this, in the 27th chapter, again, Devahuti, she is asking that, you told me about this Bhakti Mishra Gyan, please tell me in detail about that. Because Devahuti asked about liberation. Devahuti's question was, how is liberation possible? So in response to that question, now Kapila Dev describes this so many different principles, and I'll just go back so that there are some few things remaining to be discussed. So yeah, so in this 27th chapter, again the Bhakti Mishra Gyan will be described by Kapila Dev, where Lord Kapila says that actually when Jiva, he is in the conditioned state, the conditioned state of the Jiva is that he is not allowed to remember his constitutional position about the servant of the Supreme Lord. Originally Jiva is pure, but because when he comes in this material world, he gets covered by the modes of nature and by the false ego and by the minds and the senses, he thinks, I am the proprietor. Nitya Baddha Krishna Hoite Nitya Bahirmukh. Nitya samsara bhunje narakadi dukha. In this world, living entity thinks, I am the enjoyer. He turns his face away from Krishna and he wants to enjoy separately from Krishna. Therefore, that is the fault. Sei doshe maya pishachi dandako retare adhyatmika tapatre chare jari mare. Because he wants to enjoy in this world, he gets kicked by material nature again and again. Sei doshe maya pishachi dandako retare dandakare. Maya Devi punishes that living entity. But somehow, if the living entity comes in association of devotees of the Lord, then he gets his mentality rectified. One time Srila Prabhupada was giving a class and he made that statement that this world is for enjoyment. Everybody became happy. Wow, we didn't know that. Then Prabhupada said, not yours, Krishna's enjoyment. So we have come in this world because of the contamination that we want to enjoy this world. So when this mentality gets rectified, then a living entity can become free from this entanglement of birth and death. Therefore, Kapila Dev says that because of this faulty mentality, living entity transmigrates. He thinks himself to be the doer. Again, he is describing the same thing. And then he says that actually the solution is practice the process of bhakti yoga. And what is that process of bhakti yoga? That process of bhakti yoga is a very, very simple process. It is a duty of every conditioned soul to practice bhakti. And that is the only way by which one can purify his consciousness. So therefore he says that when somebody is attached to sense gratification, he cannot think about serving Lord. But if the mind and consciousness is controlled and focused towards the service to the Supreme Lord, then he will be able to get free of this clutches of material energy. After describing this, Kapila Dev, he describes the process by which one can attain liberation, and he describes the process of Jnana Yoga, because Devahuti had asked about Jnana and Ashtanga Yoga both. So now in this 27th chapter, Kapila Dev describes the process of liberation by following this Jnana. So then he says that this Jnana, what is the process? Process is one has to cultivate knowledge about Supreme Lord, and he has to hear about topics of me. So actually, very interestingly, Kapil Dev is saying, even in the process of Jnana, he has to practice bhakti. Because all the other paths, Jnana, Ashtanga, they are incomplete without the practice of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is independent. If somebody is performing Bhakti Yoga, he does not have to practice the process of Ashtanga Yoga. He does not have to do all this pranayam, asana, pratyahar. All these things are not required. But all these other things, Ashtanga and Jnana, they have to practice this Bhakti Yoga also. So therefore, Chakravarti Thakur says that actually, Jnanis, they cannot attain liberation because they are offending the Supreme Lord. If somebody is offending the form of the Lord, then they cannot attain liberation. Even the Karma Yogis, they cannot attain liberation if their Karma Yoga is not mixed with Bhakti. That is called Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti. So then after describing this, Kapila Dev describes 18 qualities to be cultivated by the Jnani, and then he describes the various characteristics of the super soul. And then he says that, one can see the presence of soul and super soul he explains this by giving an example. Just like there is a sun in the sky and sun reflected on the water, and then that water reflects the sun on the wall. So these are the inferences by all these, reflection on the water or reflection on the wall. We can know sun is there. Similarly, the pure jiva also, he gets influenced by the ahankar, and then that ahankar is reflected in the body, senses and the mind, and all these symptoms they describe, they show that the living entity is there. Similarly, Supreme Lord is also reflected in all the different energies in this world. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he was so very expert. All the devotees, they would be very eager to go with Prabhupada on the morning walk, because morning walks were very, very intimate things, because there were no outsiders, many outsiders, only devotees were there. So whenever Prabhupada would go for a morning walk, just seeing the things of the nature, he will try to connect it to the Supreme Lord. That's how we have to develop. This is the vision of a Mahabhagavat. How when we see things of this world, it reminds us of the Supreme Lord. So that is how we have to cultivate. That's why Krishna told this 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Vibhuti Yoga. In that, Krishna told, if you want to see me in this world, you can see in this way. Whenever you see any powerful, opulent things in this world, you can remember me. One time, one devotee asked Prabhupada, how can I remember you always? When you are not there, I am not able to see you. So how will I understand that I am connected to you? Prabhupada said, when I'm not there and if my specs are lying on my table. So when you look at my specs, what do you think? This devotee said, I think of you, Prabhupada. So he said, yes, that means you are connected to me. So similarly, when we see the things of this world, when we remember Krishna, that means we are connected to Krishna. So that is what Kapila Dev says, that, when we see the Lord in the things of this world, anything opulent, in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes so many things, of the devatas, I am this, of the mountains, I am this, most of us, we have not seen. So how can we relate that in our current life? We can translate that in our current scenario. Of the cricketers, I am, Virat Kohli. So we can, whatever great and opulent things you see in this world, you should remember, oh, this is the manifestation of the energy of Krishna. Anything strong, beautiful, powerful, any excellent knowledge, everything is coming from Krishna. So then after that, Devavati, he asks again the question of how is liberation possible? She had asked the same thing in the earlier chapters also. Again, she is asking, how is this liberation possible? Because Prakriti and Purusha are naturally attracted for each other. They are made for each other combination. Prakriti and Purusha made for each other because you want to enjoy. So if the Jiva and Prakriti, they are always attached, how will they get separated? Jiva is always attached to the modes, and Prakriti on the other hand also acts on it. Jiva goes towards Prakriti, Prakriti comes towards Jiva. So it is a very, very, very apt combination. How will this separation happen? And then she says that actually I am fearful, even after hearing Sankhya philosophy from you, till the time I hear, I'll be free from this bondage, but I am fearful that the bondage may not appear again. So then, in response to this, Kapila Dev says that actually this fear which you are talking about can only be removed by the practice of intense bhakti. Only by the practice of intense bhakti one can become free from this fear that I'll be entangled again. So then he says, these two verses, he says that one should perform intense bhakti for a very long time. Tivra bhaktaya chiram. So intense bhakti for a long time. So that's how we should prepare ourselves. We are not on a easy journey. Easy journey to other planets, that is okay, but we'll not be able to go to spiritual world easily, because if we are not practicing bhakti tivra, that is why one of the characteristics of bhakti is what? Sudurlabha. Bhakti is very, very rare. Pure bhakti, very rare. Why? There are two reasons. First, a devotee is not practicing bhakti with intensity. Tivra bhakti is the only way to take us to the spiritual world. Secondly, Krishna does not want to give pure devotional service easily to devotees because he becomes purchased by devotees. कृष्ण यदि छूटे भक्ते भुक्ति मुक्ति दिया तबु कृष्ण प्रेम ना देन राखे ना लुकाइया. If somebody practices bhakti, Krishna से क्या चाहिए? मांग. भक्ति चाहिए, sense gratification, I'll give. मुक्ति भी दे दूंगा, भक्ति नहीं. Not so easily bhakti, because Krishna becomes purchased. सारथ्य पार्षद सेवन सख्य दौत्य वीरासनानुगमन स्तवन प्रणामान स्निग्धेषु पाण्डुषु जगत् प्रणतिं च विष्णो भक्तिं करोति नृपतिश्चरणारविन्दे. So Krishna was becoming Sarathi for the Pandavas. Parsha, their constant companion, servant, messenger. He was protector of the Pandavas. Why? Bhaktim karote nipatis charanaravinde. All these Pandavas, they were snigdheshu. Because they were malleable to the will of Krishna, Krishna was malleable to the will of Pandavas. That is a secret of bhakti. The more we become malleable, the more we become surrendered to the will of the devotees of the Lord. The more we become malleable to the will of the Lord, the more Krishna becomes malleable. That is a very beautiful reciprocation. Gayathamam prapadyante. So therefore, we see in the life of Pandavas and all the great devotees of the Lord, whatever Lord wanted, they were ready. Gopi is in the middle of the night. When Krishna would play flute, they would not ask, अरे अभी बजाना था flute, पहले नहीं बजा सकते थे, अभी सोने का टाइम हुआ तो आप flute बजा रहे हैं, So they were ready, they were malleable to the will of Krishna. Although it is not so easy, it takes lots of practice. That is the art. Prabhupada writes in Nectar of Instruction, Krishna consciousness is a sort of cultivation. We have to cultivate. It is an art. We have to learn this art of Krishna consciousness. It will not happen ek din subah uthe or ecstasy will become pure devotee. No, it will not happen. We have to strive. Tivra bhaktaya chiram, for a long time. And then animitta nimittena, without desire for fruitive results. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, our dictionary was dhanam dehi, janam dehi, bharya dehi, rupam dehi, 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 dehi. After coming to Krishna consciousness, what has happened? Na add ho gaya aage. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va. Kuch nahi chahiye. So that is the tivra bhakti which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us without even our understanding. A newcomer in Krishna consciousness, day one, usko bhi bitha ke hum log Chaitanya Shikshashtakam recite karwate hain. If he comes to know what he's asking, he will not come, So that is the glory of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is giving pure devotional service to everyone. Yare tare koiladan, Mahaprabhu data shiromani. Apani kari aswadane shikhaila bhakta gane prema chintamani prabhu dhani. Nahi jane sthana sthan yare tare koiladan. Mahaprabhu data shiromani. Mahaprabhu is data shiromani. He is giving this bhakti to everyone, without consideration. ये qualified है, ये नहीं, ये तो 10 बार फेल हुआ है, इसको कैसे दे दें, He is giving to everyone. So then he says, swadharmena, one can get liberation by intense bhakti that includes intensity for a long time without desire for fruitive results, and then swadharmena, by executing the prescribed duties of hearing and chanting and following four regulative principles, and then shruta sambhritaya. That bhakti should involve hearing about my pastimes, So again and again, Kapila Devi is saying, this bhakti is possible. Even Jnana Yoga is possible by the practice of bhakti only. Hearing about Krishna means bhakti yoga. And then Jnanena and Vairagyena, in knowledge and renunciation. Jnanena drishta tattvena vairagyena baliyasa tapoyuktena yogena trivrena atmasamadhina. Austerity, yoga, and absorption. So we have to be absorbed. We have to be focused. Without focus, we cannot achieve anything in this world. श्री चैतन्य नित्यानंद चरणे चिंतिया पथ छाड़ी उपपथे जाय न धाइया ग्रामे ग्रामे पथ छाड़ी जाय बने बने काय मनोवाक्य चिंत्य चैतन्य चरणे भक्षण अपेक्षा नहीं समस्त दिवस गमन क्षुधा नहीं बाधे चैतन्य चरणे प्राप्त्ये मन Raghunath Das Goswami, he wanted to run to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every day he would run from his home. One day, and all the time, all the bodyguards, they would catch him, bring him back. One day he just escaped. And then he was running, grame grame patha chadi. He was not running through the main road. He was running through jungles because he knew if I run from main roads, again my father's soldiers, they will come, guards, they will come and they will catch me. He was only thinking of one thing. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Charane Chintiya. He was always thinking of lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. That is our hope. We may not be able to practice all the limbs of bhakti, but we can do one thing. We can give our best. Krishna is not demanding the best. Krishna is demanding our best. Krishna wants to see that whether we are giving our best or not. Is this devotee sufficiently struggling to come close to me? Then, of course, we will also get this love of God. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is our hope because we cannot reach up to these ideal standards, but at least we should try our best to reach up to these ideal standards, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he is there, he is supremely merciful, but he is Patita Pavan, not Kapata Pavan. Kapat means we can do more, but still we are not doing it. I can do more bhakti, but still I am not doing it. I can take out some more time for chanting, but I am not doing it. I can take some more time for hearing and reading Bhagavatam, but I am not doing it. Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not Kapata Pavan. He sees that this person is really struggling. He wants it. If he sees that he is desperate, then Krishna will for sure, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will for sure give mercy. So that is our hope. And then Kapil Dev says that the result of this is one will become free from the influence of this material world. And then if somebody becomes free from the influence of the material world and practices bhakti, he will again not get entangled. That's why now he is clarifying the question, how I am fearful of again getting re-entangled in this material world. Kapil Dev says that if somebody is on the process of pure devotional service, only by the process of bhakti, one will not fall down. One will give up. One will become free from all the fear. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshita syat. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshita syat means if somebody is connected to Krishna, then one will not be fearful of things of this world. But if somebody is connected to things of this world, attached to things of this world, then bhayam comes, fear comes. Because if we want to keep something for ourselves and something for you. Oh Krishna, ये सब आपके लिए, बस इतना मेरे लिए है, इसको नहीं touch करने का. This is for me. Rest everything is for you. So till the time this conception of me and mine, ye mera, ye Bhagwan ka, till that time fear is there. When we surrender wholeheartedly, then there is no fear. And then he says that such a person of discrimination is like an awakened person, and is not affected. Just like an awakened person is not disturbed by the dream, similarly this person who has realized Supreme Lord, he is not affected by things of this world. And Prakriti cannot harm him. And ultimately, this bhakta, this person, this yogi, he also attains liberation. So this is the end of the 27th chapter. And then 28th chapter is a very beautiful, very devotional chapter. Although in this chapter, Kapila Dev will describe about the limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. But actually, we'll see that the various limbs of Ashtanga Yoga is also telling about how to fix the mind on the Supreme Lord. That is our meditation, So Kapila he continues, he says that now I shall explain to you this Ashtang Bhakti Mishra Ashtanga Yoga system. So Bhakti Mishra Ashtanga. Earlier was Bhakti Mishra Gyan. Now Bhakti Mishra Ashtanga. Ashtanga Yoga is the prominent, but Bhakti's element is also there in that. So then he says that this Ashtanga Yogi, he has to concentrate his mind on me, and I will tell how he does that. On me means he's saying the Supreme Lord, because he is the Supreme Lord himself. So Kapil Dev says, I will explain you the object of meditation, on whom this Ashtanga Yogi concentrate his mind on. So then he describes the various limbs of Ashtanga Yoga: Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. He describes in detail what are the rules and regulations, do's and don'ts of bhakti. He says one has to execute his prescribed duties with the best of his ability. He has to avoid performing duties which are not allotted to him. So as a devotee, we have to be really very, very focused. What I am supposed to do, what I am not supposed to do. So there should be no confusion. Ye karu ya ye na karu. Ye karu ya ye karu. Clear. We should not be doing those things which are not allotted to us. Our main goal should be fixed. I have to practice devotional service. So therefore, this Ashtanga Yogi, he knows what to do, what not to do. He is satisfied with whatever is achieved by Lord's grace. And then so many things he describes in Yam and Niyam. And then he says that to maintain the steadiness of the mind, first of all, he sits, asana. Different asanas are described so that one can make one's mind steady. And then pranayam. So this pranayam is also helpful to control the mind. This pranayam is involving so many different things about various airs which are moving in the body. There are 5 types of primary air and 7 types of secondary air. So all these airs, they are connecting this prana vayu. This prana vayu is connecting our gross body to the soul. This prana vayu is a subtle body. This is a connection between our gross body and the actually subtle body and the soul. So when we control the breathing process, the mind becomes peaceful. So that is how yogi controls his mind, by this pranayam. And then about pratyahar. Pratyahar means withdrawing the senses from the material objects and focusing the mind on Krishna, focusing the senses in the service of the Lord, concentrating the mind on the Lord who is in the heart, and that is called dharana. Dharana means, first of all, fixing the mind in between the eyebrows. There are various chakras. There are various chakras in the body. Is Ashtanga Yogi, he has to ultimately focus his whole energy on this Agya chakra, and then he has to do this dhyan. Dhyan means meditating on the limbs of the Lord and the Vaikuntha Leelas. That is interesting. So Ashtanga Yogi is also doing meditation on the Lord's form. Ashtanga Yogi is also doing meditation on the Vaikuntha Leelas. So if somebody says, I am doing yoga, okay, what type of yoga are you doing? In today's world, there are so many different types of yogas. Yoga for good health, yoga for long life, and there are all distorted, perverted forms of yoga also. There is a beer yoga. In one hand they have a beer, other hand they are doing yoga. Yoga for sex life, yoga for good health, yoga for good sleep. All these different forms of yoga are there, but the yoga is not there. Yoga means to connect to God, connect to Supreme Lord who is there in the heart. That is what Ashtanga Yogi is doing. Dhyan. Dhyan means focusing on the form of the Lord and the pastimes of the Lord. So Ashtanga Yogi is also doing the same thing. And then the result is Samadhi. Samadhi means the mind is perpetually absorbed in the Lord. And then he says, by all these process of yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, in sabse karna kya? What is the end result? To focus, the control, the unbridled mind. All these things help to control the mind and fix it on the Lord. And then it describes the various requirements of the asana we have discussed in Bhagavad Gita. 6th chapter describes in great detail. Shuchaudeshe pratisthapya sthiramasanam nati uchritam nati nicham chaila ajina kushottaram tatra ekagram manah kritva yata chittendriya kriya upavishyasane yunjyad yogam atma vishuddhaye. These are the various processes of asana. Asan means sitting in a secluded place, clean place with body erect, your head and the neck and the body and the belly in the same line, very straight, and focusing in between the eyebrows. All these are various requirements of asana. And then describes about pranayam in detail. What is pranayam? Pranayam means there are various airs, kumbhaka, rechaka, puraka. We have to control that. And then the result will be, mind will become pure. Like gold, when it is put in fire, it becomes pure. Similarly, the mind will become pure. And then after that, now very beautiful description of the Lord's form is described. Because this Ashtanga Yogi, he has to do this dharana. Dharana means meditating on the form. First of all, he has to know the form of the Lord, to meditate on that form of the Lord. So first, Kapila will describe the form of the Lord. Very beautiful description of the form of the Lord is given. Prasannavadanam bhojan padma garbharunekshanam nilotpaladana shyamam sankha chakra gadadharam. Prasannavadanam bhojam. The Supreme Lord has a very beautiful smile on his face. Then Padma Garbha Arunekshanam. And the eyes of the Lord, they are like the interior of the lotus. Reddish, ready eyes. And then Nilotpala Dalashyamam. And the complexion of the Krishna's body, Vishnu's body is like a lotus flower. Nilotpala Dalashyamam. Like the petals of the blue lotus. Shankha Chakra Gadadharam, and he has Shankha Chakra Gada Padma in his hands. Lasat Pankaja Kinjalka Pita Kaushe Yavasasam Srivatsa Vakshasham Bhrajat Kaustubha Mukta Kandaram. So we'll see this section in detail. We'll take every verse, because this is a very, very beautiful section in which a devotee can meditate on the form of the Lord. This is how, when we take darshan of the Lord, we have to see the Lord, glorify the Lord in these aspects. Lasat Pankaj Kinjalka. So he says that this the loin cloth of the Supreme Lord, Pit Kausheya Vasasam, it is like yellow Kinjalka, yellow lotus filaments. Have you seen lotus filaments? They are yellowish. So that is the color of the garment which Supreme Lord wears. Lasat Pankaj Kinjalka. Kinjalka means the saffron filaments of the lotus. Pita Kausheya Vasasam. That's how yellow. That is the yellow color of the garment. Srivatsa Vakshasham Bhrajat Kaustubha Mukta Kandharam. And on the chest of Supreme Lord Vishnu, there is a Srivatsa. What is Srivatsa? Srivatsa is a tuft of a golden hair which is there on the body of Vishnu. And this Srivatsa is the representation of Mother Lakshmi. So that is how this Srivatsa is there on the chest of Supreme Lord. Kaustubha Amukta Kandharam. And then in the neck of Supreme Lord Vishnu is a Kaustubha jewel. Then it is described Mattadvirefa Kalaya Parita Vanamalaya Parardhahar Valaya Kiritangadanupuram. So then Matya Durefa Valaya, and Supreme Lord is wearing a very beautiful fragrant garland. And because of the fragrance of this garland, the bees are getting intoxicated. Whenever we would go to, sometimes we have to go to, this Dadar market to get flowers. So on this mogra flower and all these, gulchadi flowers, so many honeybees are, coming, and they are sitting on that because they are tasting they are getting intoxicated by the aroma which is coming from these flowers. So this garland of the Supreme Lord is also having lots of honeybees. That is how it is so very beautifully described. We discussed this in the previous verses also. When Brahmaji, he got darshan of Vaikuntha. He was telling this Vaikuntha to all the devatas. So in this Jai Vijay pastime, he also told about this various plants, flowering plants. Mandara kunda kurabotpala champakarna punnagana gabakulambuja parijata gandherchite tulasika bharanena tasya yasmin tapam sumanaso bahumanayanti. So then all these flowering plants were there. They were giving credit to Tulasi Maharani. And there were so many birds who were singing. Paravat paravatanya britasaras chakravaka datyuh hamsa shukatittiri barhinaya kolahalam viramate chiramatramucche bringadipe harikatha ivagayamane. So many different birds are there. They are chirping, they are producing such nice sound. But when a bumblebee comes, so all of them become silent. Why? Because of this reason, which we are discussing now. Matta Durefa Kalaya. This bumblebee is sitting on the garland of Lord Vishnu, and that's why all the other birds, they become very silent, because they wanted to hear. Because the garland on which this bumblebee is sitting is giving all the ecstatic symptoms to this bumblebee. So when bumblebee is singing, some of the drops of ecstasy will also fall on them. So that is our devotee. We should be always eager to hear from the mouths of pure devotees, because they themselves are experiencing the ecstatic symptoms when they speak. With their speech, this ecstatic symptoms will also fall on some other people. So therefore, Matta Durefa Kalaya Parita Vanamalaya Parardha Haravalaya. And then he was wearing a very beautiful priceless necklace, Kiritang Gudanupuram, and then he had crown and the armlets and the anklets. And then Kanchi Gunulla Shashronim Hridayam Bhojavishtaram Darshaniyatamam Shantam Mano Nayanavardhanam. So this is a very beautiful verse. So here Kapil Dev is saying, now this yogi is meditating on the loins and the hips of the Lord. So this, on the hips of the Lord, there's a very beautiful girdle which is kept, which is put. Hridayam Bhoja Vishtaram. So Supreme Lord is standing where, Supreme Lord Vishnu is standing on the heart of the lotus of the heart of devotees. That is our aspiration. Why we are doing all this bhakti? So that Lord may appear in the heart. So when yogi, he is seeing that Lord in the heart. Lord is sitting on the lotus of the heart of this yogi. Hridaya Ambhoja Vishtaram. And then Darshaniyatamam. Darshaniyatamam means it is worthy to look at. Darshaniyatamam. Darshaniyatamam, most worthy. Darshaniyatamam Shantam. When we see the beautiful form of the Lord, it is worth looking at. It gives peace in our heart. When we see the beauty of this world may agitate us. But when we see the beautiful form of Krishna, one becomes peaceful. Mano Nayana Vardhanam. It pacifies the mind and it pacifies the eyes. Therefore, the more we hear, in this world, we may be attracted by so many things. So many things of this world may attract our mind and our eyes. These are two things which first get attracted to all the other objects. Our eyes, and then our mind goes. Our senses first go, and then mind also follows. If we focus our mind and eyes on Krishna, Mano Nayana Vardhanam, it will satisfy and pacify all the heart's desires. Apichya darshanam shashvat Sarvaloka namaskritam Shantam Vayasi Kaishore Vrittyanugrahakataram Apichya Darshanam, extremely eternally beautiful form of the Lord. Sarva Loka Namaskritam, it was worshipped by all the residents of this whole universe. Vrittyanugrahakataram, why Krishna has appeared in this world? Only for one reason. He appears in this world just to show mercy to the devotees of the Lord. That is the only reason Lord is giving his darshan to his devotees, to show mercy to his devotees. Bhritya Anugraha. That is the only reason for appearance of the Lord in this world. Bhritya Anugraha Kataram. Kirtanya Tirtha Yashasham Punya Shloka Yashaskaram Dhyaye Devam Samagrangam Yavan Nachyavate Manah. Kirtanya Tirtha Yashasham. The Yasha of Krishna is worth singing. There are so many people are singing so many glories of people of this world, but they are not worth singing. But when we sing the glories of the Lord, they are the only one person, one object whose glories should be sung. Tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam navam tadeva shashvan manaso mahotsavam tadeva shokar navashoshanam nrinam yaduttama shloka yashonu giyate. When we hear and sing the glories of Krishna, then the ocean of tears which are there in the heart of devotee goes away. Nobody can say, I'm not singing anyone's glory. Everybody in this world is singing somebody's glory, singing glories of Bollywood stars, cricket stars, politicians, and so many people of this world. Yashonu Giyate is going on. We have to transfer this tendency of glorifying the things and people of this world to the glorification of Krishna, because Kirtanya Tirtha Yashasham. This is the only person who is worth glorifying. Krishna is the only person who is worth glorifying. Punya Shloka Yashaskaram. His glory actually enhances the glory of devotees. Therefore, a yogi should meditate on that. Then after describing all this beautiful form of the Lord, now a series of beautiful verses come where Kapil now describes that, okay, description to de diya. Abhi you have to meditate on this form. With heart full of all the emotions, the yogi first visualizes the Lord standing, moving, sitting, and lying down, and he meditates on his beautiful pastimes in the spiritual world. And then, having meditated on all the limbs, now he fixes his mind on each and every limb individually. First, starting from lotus feet of the Lord. So, this is how we have to take darshan. Whenever we go to temple, this is how we have to take darshan of the deities or home deities or whatever. When we take darshan of the Lord, start darshan from the lotus feet of the Lord. Because what is the quality of the lotus feet of the Lord? Sanchintayed bhagavatas charanarvindam vajrankushadhvaja saroruhalanchanadyam uttunga rakta vilasannaka chakravala jyotsna virahat mahad hridayandakaram sanchintayed. The devotee has to meditate on the charanarvindam, on the lotus feet of the Lord. That lotus feet is marked with various symbols. There are 18 symbols on the lotus feet of the Lord. Few are given here. Vajra, Ankusha, Dhwaja, and Saroruha. Vajra means thunderbolt. Ankusha means the elephant gourd. Dhwaja means the flag. Saroruha means the lotus. There are so many other symbols also. And then Uttunga Rakta Vilasan Nakachakravala. And when you are meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, you should meditate on the nails of the Lord. The red nails of the Lord, they are also having very beautiful quality. What is the quality of the meditation on the nails of the Lord? When we are meditating on the nails of the Lord, there is a effulgence which comes from the nails, which you cannot see, of course, by our mundane eyes. But this effulgence, Jyotsna abhir ahat mehad hriday andhakar. Hriday, there is a lots of andhakar. The effulgence which is coming from the nails of the Lord can remove this darkness which is there in the heart. And then the devotee should continue to meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long time. Dhyayet chiram bhagavatah. One should meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord for a long, long time, because this lotus feet of the Lord is so very powerful. The water which is coming from the lotus feet of the Lord, that is Ganga. Ganga purifies all the holy places, even purifies Lord Shiva. Tirthena murdhni athikritena Shiva Shivo Bhut. Shiva, who is all auspicious, became all the more auspicious. Therefore, dhyatum manashamal shaila nisrishta vajram. If somebody meditates on the lotus feet of the Lord, these lotus feet are like thunderbolts. Thunderbolt. Why? What is the need of thunderbolt here? So he's saying, Kapila Devi is saying that, in everyone's heart, itna paap kiya hai sabne, itna paap kiya hai, karono jan, they have made a mountain of sins. Mountains cannot be destroyed by any ordinary weapon. It requires thunderbolt. Lotus feet of the Lord, they are like thunderbolt. They can destroy the mountains of sins which a living entity has created. And then one has to meditate on the calves of the Lord. Why calves? On the calves of the Lord, Lakshmi Devi is always found massaging the lotus feet and the calves of the Lord. Janu dvayam jala jalochanaya jananya Lakshmya akhilasya suravanditaya vidhatu. Lakshmya akhilasya. Lakshmi Devi is glorified by all the devatas. But that Lakshmi Devi, what she is doing? She is massaging the lotus feet of the Lord, calves of the Lord. And then one should keep on meditating on the thighs and the hips of the Lord. Why thighs and hips of the Lord? Because the thighs and the hips of the Lord, they are so very graceful. These thighs of the Lord, when Supreme Lord is riding on Garuda, so the thighs of the Lord, they are on the wings of Garuda. It looks so very graceful. Uru Suparna Bhujayo Radhushobhamana Ojo Nidhi Yatasika Kusumava Bhasav Ojo Nidhi. The thighs of the Lord, they are the storehouse of all the energy. And Lord's thighs are whitish blue, so that is the color of the Lord's thighs, whitish blue, just like the luster of a linseed flower. Atasika means linseed flower. And then on this thighs, he is wearing a very beautiful yellow garment. And then he says that one has to meditate on the navel and the nipples of the Lord. Nabhi radam bhuvana kosha guhodarastam yatratmayo nidhishana khilaloka padmam vyudam harinmani vrishastanayoramushya dhyaye dvayam vishadhara mayukha gauram. Nabhi radam, from the navel of the Lord. In the abdomen, one should meditate on the navel of the Lord. From this navel, Brahmaji appears. Lotus comes out, and on that Brahmaji is born. This navel is the foundation of the entire universe, because from this navel a lotus comes, and on that lotus Brahmaji takes birth. So this lotus and the whole lotus stem is the abode of the 14 planetary systems. Then one should meditate on the chests of the Lord and the nipples of the Lord. And he says that the nipples of the Lord, they resemble a pair of most exquisite emeralds. And when one meditates on these beautiful emerald-like nipples, then all this darkness in the heart will be destroyed. After that, now he rises up. Now he meditates on the chest and the neck of the Lord. Vaksho adhivasam. Vakshaha means the meditate on the Lord, the chest of the Lord. Now yogis should meditate on the chest of the Lord, because on the chest of the Lord, again, who is sitting? Lakshmi Devi is sitting on the chest of the Lord in the form of Srivatsa. This chest of the Lord is worth seeing. Mano Nayana Nirvriti Adadhanam. Again, Mano and Nayan, mind and the eyes will be completely satisfied when we see the chest of the Lord. Then in the throat of the Lord, there is a Kaustubha Mala. And then after that, he describes the arms of the Lord. The arms of the Lord, they are the controllers of all the universes, They are so very powerful, just like the mountain Mandar. And one should meditate on the chakra, which is there in the hand of Lord Vishnu. That chakra can dispel all the ignorance which is there in the heart. This chakra has 1000 spokes and it has a dazzling luster. And as well as one should meditate on the conch which is there in the hand of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And then about club, there is a different description because club is something special. He says, Kaumodakim Bhagavato Daitam Smareta Digdam Arati Bhatashonit Kardamena Malam Madhuvratavarut Giropagushtam Chaityasya Tattvamalam Manimasya Kanthe. Kaumudaki, the Gada of the Lord is called Kaumudaki. When we see Gada of the Lord, it gives hope for the devotees. You know why? Because the Gada of the Lord is Digdham Arati Bhatashonita Kardamena. The Gada of the Lord is always tainted with the blood of the demons. With this blood, he smashes all the demons. So devotees have a hope. All the demons which are there in the heart, this demon of doubt, lust, anger, it will be destroyed. That's what, Yamraj is telling to Yamdutas. Oh, my sons, never go to the devotees of the Lord. These devotees of the Lord, they are glorified by great sages. They are always protected by Krishna. Krishna is personally, Lord Vishnu is personally, revolving, circumambulating the devotees of the Lord with Gada in his hand. Gadaya Bhigupta. That's how Parikshit Maharaj also saw. He saw Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna circumambulating him with Gada in his hand. And then he says, now one should meditate on the face of the Lord. Why? This face of the Lord is only manifesting for one reason. Bhritya anukampita dhyehe. The only reason for the Lord to manifest his beautiful lotus face is to show compassion to the devotees. Sanchintayed bhagavato vadanaravindam. And that lotus face is full of makara kundal. He is wearing a shark-shaped earrings. He has a locks of hair around his face, which is very beautiful. And then describes that this lotus face of the Lord is so very beautiful that it has a locks of curly hair. It has beautiful eyebrows, lotus-like eyes, which are like the fish. Meena Dvayashram, fish-like eyes, and that's why it is called Meenakshi. Meenakshi means the eyes, the lady who has fish-like eyes. That is very beautiful to look at. Lord's eyes are like that, Meenakshi, And all these beautiful form of the Lord creates a very, very loving and very, very attractive feature for the devotees of the Lord. And then after that, one should meditate on the eyes of the Lord and the glance of the Lord. Tasyavalokamadikam kripayati ghora tapatrayopashamanaya nisrishtamakshnoh snigdasmitanugunitam vipula prasadam dhyaye chiram vipula bhavanaya guhaya tasya avalokam adhikam. The glance of the Lord, it is full of compassion. Kripaya ati ghora. Kripaya ati, full of compassion. Even if somebody is in ghora tapatraya, suffering intensely, when we meditate on the eyes of the Lord, all the distress in the heart will be destroyed. And then one should meditate on the smile of the Lord. Smile of the Lord is the most beautiful thing in the entire creation, So Krishna's body is like a city of beauty. In this city of beauty, the most beautiful part is the face. In this face, even most beautiful is the smile of the Lord. Krishna Angalavanyapur Madhur hoite sumadhur tate mukh sudhakar. Madhur hoite sumadhur taha hoite sumadhur tara e smita jyotsna bhar. So that is the smile of the Lord and glance of the Lord. And then this is a very important verse. Here, Kapila Devi is saying one should meditate on the eyebrows of the Lord and smile of the Lord. Ha samhare ravanata kilaloka tivra शोकाश्रुसागर विशोषणमत्युदारम् सम्मोहनाय रचितं निजमाययस्य भ्रूमण्डलं मुनिकृते मकरध्वजस्य hasam harer. The smile of the Lord is so very powerful, so very beautiful. Akhila lok tivra shok ashru sagar. It is described that living entities are lamenting so much. In so many millions of lives, we have cried so many tears, it has made an ocean of tears. Shok, Ashru, Sagar, Vishoshana. The beautiful smile of the Lord then can evaporate this whole ocean of tears. And in this world, a greatest obstacle for a devotee is lust. This lust is the most difficult anartha to get over, to win over. So Kapila Dev says, Supreme Lord has manifested his beautiful eyebrows. These eyebrows, they are like the bows. When we meditate on the eyebrows of the Lord, we get hit by the glance of the Lord. The glance of the Lord, they are like the arrows. These arrows which are thrown from this bow like eyebrows, these arrows can destroy the arrows of Cupid. Therefore, when we feel troubled by lust, we should meditate on the eyebrows of the Lord for a long, long time. And then ultimately, he describes the beautiful laughter of the Lord. And then after describing all this, Kapila Dev says that, in this way, meditating in this way, yogi develops symptoms of ecstasy. And then with his mind detached from the material contamination, he keeps on meditating on this form. But he says, there is some problem. An unfortunate yogi, even after seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, he does not get attached to that Lord. He does not become devotee. He continues to meditate on the Paramatma feature. He is more attracted to the impersonal Brahman realization. That is an unfortunate condition. So then he says about this yogi, what happens to this yogi who is meditating on the Paramatma still? He is not attracted to bhakti. He is still attracted to the Paramatma realization. So what happens to him? He becomes detached from this material contamination, of course, and then he becomes totally unaware of this body, and ultimately he understands that I am not this body, I am soul, and he starts seeing super soul in all the living beings. He becomes the Paramatma realized person, and ultimately conquering the Maya, this yogi becomes a self-realized person. So here the 28th chapter ends. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions they can ask? Is Mother Ganges water from the Garbhut ocean brought by Vamanadev? Yes. Same water. Mother Ganga is the same water which is coming from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, which is brought by Vamanadev. Can devotees learn meditation to focus mind while chanting? That is what we are doing when we are chanting. What we are doing, we are meditating on the holy name of the Lord. One time, Malti Mataji, she asked Prabhupada, what should we do when we chant, and what should we think when we chant? Prabhupada said, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think anything. Just chant and hear. That's all. So in chanting, three things are important: posture, pace, and pronunciation. The way we sit, although chanting can be done in any posture, but if we are sitting in if we are lying down and chanting, there are more chances we'll go to sleep. Posture, pace, the speed, Rajdhani bhi nahi chalana hai, passenger bhi nahi chalana hai, at a constant pace. And pronunciation. Each and every word should be distinctly pronounced. Ekadashi japa nahi karna hai humko. Ekadashi means Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Ram Krishna. Beech mein kha gaya sab. So this process of chanting is itself the highest meditation. So there is no need to do meditation separately, because the purpose of meditation is to fix the mind on Krishna. And when we are chanting, we are achieving the same benefit. So there is no need to do separately the meditation. Yeah, in the earlier ages, Ashtanga Yoga was done by women also. We hear about the various ladies, various great women. Even we heard about Gandhari. She also perfected her life. She also was doing, this the same thing which Dhritarashtra did. So there are so many stories that women were also doing this Ashtanga Yoga. What is the definition of Tivra Bhakti? Tivra Bhakti means you should give your best to Krishna, mold your life in such a way that we can, as you said, we will be able to remember Krishna the most. That is the Tivra Bhakti definition. That is very rightly said. So that is the Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham Param. Tivra Bhakti means our goal should be very, very clear. When we are either we are chanting, either we are hearing Bhagavatam. First of all, are we giving our best? If somebody is feeling sleepy in Bhagavatam, then he should get up and walk and do something. If he is feeling sleepy, of course it is natural because we don't have that taste. So if we are feeling sleepy in Bhagavatam and then we are not getting up and doing something, that means we are not having that intensity in the practice of bhakti. So therefore, Tivra Bhakti means we have to give our best while chanting, while hearing, while doing services. So that is Tivra Bhakti. And the goal is so that we may be able to remember Krishna always. Yeah, this I already answered this. Can we remember darshan of Radharani and Krishna while chanting? We don't have to do anything. We don't have to remember anything. We don't have to think anything. Just chant and hear. That's all. That is the only thing which we have to do. No meditation on the pastimes of Krishna. They will manifest automatically in due course of time. Before coming to ISKCON, I and my wife attended 3 days yatra with these dhyana yogis. We went to a dhyana session. They asked all to close eyes. Oh, long question. And after some time, some of them started crying, some started laughing. And after these, we never attended this group again. Good, very good. My question is that some sort of enjoyment in these processes that they attach to. My question is that they said they hear flute sound when they are in meditation. So we thought, why not worship the Lord who holds the flute directly then to the flute? Yes, great. You very rightly decided things. One devotee in the beginning days of Prabhupada, in beginning days of ISKCON, when all the devotees from the west, they came to Vrindavan. So one of the devotees, he started going to all the Babajis in Vrindavan. So one of them said, your Guru Bhaktivedanta Swami is not giving you the highest knowledge. I will tell you your Swarup in the spiritual world. And he told that you are a peacock in the spiritual world. And your meditation is every day morning 1 hour you should speak like peacock, jump like peacock. And he was doing that, started doing from the next day onwards. All the devotees, they would be chanting, and in between some sound of peacock will come. And they would get bewildered. Kahan se aa raha hai peacock ka awaaz, So that Prabhupada was very, very angry. He said, there is no need to go to all these sadhus. Somebody went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, there are some people who are saying that you are not giving us the highest. Is it true? Or is it that by the practice of this chanting and this devotional service, whatever you have told us, all these higher aspects will be revealed automatically? Prabhupada said, yes. There is no need to do anything. There is no need to go anywhere. Just continue hearing and chanting, following 4 regulative principles, doing services. All the higher aspects will be revealed automatically. One of the verse comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is a very, very appropriate verse for your question. તાણેર ભીતર વાસા કરે આપને તહા સદા સ્ફુરે અન્ય શબ્દ ના દેહ પ્રવેશિતે આન કથા ના શુને કાન આન બોલીતે બોલાય આન એ કૃષ્ણેર વંશી રચરિતે. So here the condition of the gopis are described. When Krishna plays his flute, what happens? When the sound of the flute enters the ears of the gopis, the flute sound resides there. And the gopis, they cannot listen anything else, they cannot do anything else, they cannot speak anything else. And you may say, "Arey, what is the relation?" मतलब ये यार pure devotee हैं gopis, हमारा क्या लेना देना इसमें? Prabhupada writes a very wonderful purport. He says, for a devotee, this chanting of Hare Krishna mantra represents the flute sound of Krishna. We have to try to hear that flute sound. The more we try to hear that flute sound, which is represented by this Hare Krishna mantra, the more we will be purified. And one day, we may hear the flute sound of Krishna, but the result will be the same. We have to do service only. So we don't have to be so much concerned about these higher aspects of Krishna consciousness. Just be focused on the basic principles of bhakti. As we discussed in Nectar of Devotion, even at the level of Raganuga Bhakti, the devotee continues to do the external services of a neophyte devotee. All the Goswamis, they never showed ecstatic symptoms. They were always behaving like an ordinary sadhaka. Sankhya purvaka nama gana natibhi kala vasani krito nidrahara viharaka divijito chatyanta dino chayo. They were chanting, they were eating prasad, they were doing all the services just like ordinary devotee. So all these higher ecstasies, they will automatically manifest. Whether they are getting some enjoyment in that meditation or not, that is up to the authenticity of the path which they are taking. But most of the times, these are all external displays of emotion. They are all artificial many times, because if the person is not having all the good qualities, is not following the principles, if they are showing all these symptoms of ecstasy, they are called sahajiyas. Saraswati Thakur would say that by these tears, all the realization of Krishna gets washed away from the minds. So therefore, Rupa Goswami, in the 18th chapter of Nectar of Devotion, he describes the perceivable, reliable symptoms of a person who is at the stage of bhava. Externally, all these things are very easy to imitate. Crying and laughing, all the symptoms of ecstasy. Swed, Kampa, Romanch, Ashru, Gadgad, Vaivarnya, Unmad, Vishad, Garva, Harsha, Dainya. These are the 10 symptoms of ecstasy. Swed, perspiration, trembling, Swed, Kampa, Romanch, hair standing on end, Ashru, tears, Gadgada, faltering of voice, changing of color, skin of the color. All this can be imitated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very, very careful, because he knew, now I am dancing in ecstasy, showing all the symptoms of ecstasy. People will think, oh, this is the perfection of bhakti. Dance. Externally, they may be doing, they may be having all the sinful habits. They may be smoking, drinking, doing all the prostitution, but they will also show the symptoms of ecstasy. Actually, that was the position of Gaudiya Vaishnavism before Bhaktivinoda Thakur. To make sure that nobody imitates these symptoms artificially, Rupa Goswami gives 9 reliable symptoms of a person who is on the stage of bhava. One time, one devotees were in Vrindavan. One person came and started rolling in ecstasy and crying. So devotees said, wow, he seems to be in bhava. So they went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, there is one person, it seems that he is in ecstasy. Prabhupada said, go and kick him. So devotees were bewildered. Kya bol rahe? So Prabhupada said, if he is genuine, he'll not feel the pain. If he is faking, he'll run away. And devotees, actually, when they came, this person, he ran away. So the 9 reliable symptoms of ecstasy are शांति अव्यर्थ कालत्वम विरक्ति मान शून्यता आशा बंध समुत्कंठा नाम गाने सदा रुचि आसक्तिस्तद्गुणाख्याने प्रीतिस्तद्वसति स्थले इत्याद्यो अनिभावास्युर्जात भावांकुरे जने. So these 9 symptoms are the authentic, reliable symptoms of a person who is at the stage of bhava. Shanti, tolerance, perseverance, perseverance in all the difficult situations. Avyartha kalatvam, he never wastes time. Virakti, detached from the things of this world. Mana shunyata, no expectation for the respect. Asha bandha, always hopeful. Avashya rakshibe Krishna, Krishna will always protect me. Samutkantha means eager, always eager to get mercy of the Lord. Samutkantha, Asha bandha Samutkantha Nama Gane Sadaruchi, always attached to the chanting of the names of Lord. Asaktistud Gunakhyane, attached to glorifying the qualities of the Lord. Pritistad Vasati Sthale, desire to go to the holy places. These are the reliable symptoms, like that. If these are not there, nobody can be surely told ye bhav level pe hai, ye prem pe hai. No. External symptoms may be imitated, but these 9 symptoms cannot be imitated. That's how you have to understand. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.